Okay, I know I told you guys good night. I told you I was going to be done for the day. But I got a tweet actually from Churchy, one of our mods here on the channel. And Abby, by the way, good evening. Welcome back again. You win the internet for the evening, so you're going to have the overnight duty to take care of the internet for everybody around the world. But I know you're up to it. Nice to see you again, Tammy, Lori, Laura. It's great to have you guys here. I got a tweet actually. Somebody reached out to me on my Recovery Addicts Twitter account, and they said, "Hey, Recovery Addict Churchy here. Have you heard of the case with a pro-extreme skier on trial for murder? Looks like it's just at opening statements. New Mexico versus Dean Cummings." And I pulled it up. I'm like, well, this is weird. And the more I watch, I'm getting sucked in. It's bizarre. It's crazy. It's got even some like tinfoil hat type stuff going on in there. We're going to take a look at that hopefully, but I wanted to first recap. If you guys missed the live stream this afternoon, right after lunch, I excuse you guys for lunch. You had your lunch. You hopefully had a great rest in the middle of the day and came back. And if you missed that second portion, that second live stream, you missed something incredible. You missed a judge absolutely going off on one of the defendants in the Parkland Shooter Trial. Or not the defendants, but the defendant's attorneys. And I want to replay that for you. It was absolutely bizarre. Let's see here. Let's put it here. Presets, 2 boxes like that. Okay. Sorry, as I get everything set up here so you guys can see and hear what I'm talking about. This is just, oh my goodness. That's all I can say. Oh my goodness. This was crazy. Absolutely crazy. I did the wrong one. Okay, 2 is going to be camera 1. There we go. Okay, all right. Now I can cut over to here, and I still got the wrong video. Okay, this right now we're looking at the state of New Mexico. This is the case of the skier, the extreme skier, who is accused of murder. He shot a guy who he says in self-defense. He says the guy sprayed some sort of neuro poison or something on him, and he thinks this guy was like part of this conspiracy to, change him using little nano robots and stuff. It's crazy stuff that'll be so much fun to get into. But we'll look at that. But let me switch to this other feed. Super source, box sources. Box 2 is going to be camera 6. Is that right? Nope. Here we go. Oh, I had it right all along. Guys, box 2 is camera 1. Okay, there we go. So we're going to go to super source. That's what we're looking for, and then it'll take me off the screen. Sorry about that. I'm super excited to show you this. This is from this afternoon, and we pick up. This is right after the break. We pick up, and the gentleman in the black suit on the left-hand side of the screen is discussing to the judge who's right there in the very far corner. He's basically saying, "Hey, Your Honor, I've got a motion. I need you to instruct the prosecution to tell these victims' families to stop." There's a bug in my room here. To stop attacking us as defense lawyers and to stop attacking the jury, which, basically he's got a point there, because they've really been attacking him. Instead of just having a victim statement saying, this Parkland shooter changed our lives, destroyed our lives, took one of our family members from us, this is the impact. Instead, no. Instead, they're like, hey, you guys can't be pointing at us. Listen to this. And this ramps up slowly at first, but it goes off the rails.
Judge, I'm standing here and I see that Jeff Marcus jumped up really quickly. But no one jumped up when people were referring to karma acting in the universe. No one was jumping up when they
were saying that about the defense lawyers.
Children. No one jumped up to try to tap down that rhetoric. That is the rhetoric that I'm talking about. That is what I'm trying to be very clear on. Jeff Marcus, the state, they can hide behind their arguments, but we all are witnessing what is occurring in this courtroom.
Which is myself. I'm a judge,
And
I understand that I'm in
Thank you,
charge
Judge.
of the decorum, and I feel that 99% or a great percentage of what has been said has been appropriate. Everybody has maintained decorum, but for a few comments, it's best to just move on.
The judge is trying
As opposed
to
to
sort of,
highlight
I'm
them.
going to pause this here for a second. The judge is trying to smooth this over and say, instead of focusing on those people who were pointing at the defense attorneys and like making that a big issue in the case, let's just move on, you know. You have to realize the defense has not played very nicely during this case. There's even a point they're going to reference one of the defense lawyers giving the middle finger in the courtroom. Yeah, that happened. So let's listen here. So she's saying, let's just move on. There were a couple people that, you know, talked bad about the jury. There are a couple people that talked bad about the defense lawyers. Let's just go on.
This is true, Judge, but I am witnessing a building of momentum.
There's a lot of anger
encouraging the court
among these
to
witnesses,
direct the state
or among the
to tap
victims.
down on that momentum, so it does not reoccur and it does not become a theme. Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor, for the record, the only thing the state has said to any of these witnesses when they get up is, would they like to say something on behalf of the victim they're representing?
Okay, so let me pause right here. The state, this lady who's speaking here, previously these victims, some of these victims got to have some statements read or they got to present them in court, but they all had the stipulation that they had to be reviewed by the prosecution. There was a whole list of things they could not include in them, and so recently they felt like gagged. They couldn't say how they really felt, and this is their time where the prosecution has not reviewed any of their comments. They got the instructions about what it should be in there, but nobody has seen their comments until they get up and talk. And they've been wild. They've had some words in there that I'm not going to repeat. They've definitely called some names. They've really let it all out. And so the defense is saying, hey, tamp down on this. It's ramping up and it's scaring us. We think the people are going to threaten us because of this. So let's see what happens.
There's been no encouraging or inciting, as Mr. Weeks has put on this record. That is a blatant falsehood and a recreation of the record. As far as no objections being made, it's the defense that could have objected. It's not the state's duty to object to their own witnesses.
Okay, so they're literally saying you should have the prosecution stop these people, these victims' families, in the middle of their victim's statement and say, hey, you can't say that. You know, hey, dial it back, ease up. There's no way. There's no way the state's going to do that, right? They've called them as a witness, said, is there anything you want to say? And now they're saying it. They're not going to say, I object to my own witness's testimony. Instead, they're saying, hey, defense, if you object, it's a witness. You can object at any time. Go ahead. Why don't you stand up and interrupt this woman or this man who is tearfully telling you how they lost their child and how it's destroyed their life? Why don't you stand up and say, I object? Okay, the optics of that would just be brutal. It would be devastating for the defense in the eye of public opinion. But she's saying, hey, that's your right. You can do that. But she knows they're not going to do that.
They're testifying.
Okay. Listen, I've already heard. If you have anything else to say, you can put it in writing at a later time. I've heard from both sides more than once. That's going to be it.
Judge just wants to move on.
I've made my decision. Like I said, 99% of what's been testified to has been appropriate. I do not want to highlight the few things that were said that were perhaps not appropriate, and let's move on.
Judge, I'm asking for 20 seconds next.
You can have as many seconds as you want in writing, and you can put all of your objections in writing. They've been made multiple times from your chief assistant, from Ms. McNeil, and I don't want to hear anything else. I've already heard it. Is there something that has not already been argued?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, exactly what is it?
Judge, before Mr. Schachter took the podium and testified before this court, I wanted the record to reflect that both Mr. Marcus and Mr. Satz looked at the statement prior to the reading. And so their implicit adoption of what he was saying, this improper arguments, the court should chastise.
Okay, but what you are doing right now is highlighting something and making more of a spectacle. So if your
That's not true,
office
Rebecca.
in general does not want to facilitate or incite violence, then we need to just sit down and move on. That's it. There were 18 witnesses, 16 or 18 witnesses that testified today. There was nothing that was said until Ms. McNeil made her point made, and, you know, We're moving on.
But is the court going to do anything about maybe stopping it from happening again?
When these people are upset about specific things that have gone on from that table, like shooting the middle finger up at this court and laughing and joking, Ms. McNeil, be quiet.
Did you see that?
When these people have sat in this courtroom and watched this behavior from that table, and they want to say that they're not happy about it, what is the problem?
Judge, I have no problem because I have thick skin. But once you bring in my children, I think that's highly improper. It's being
I didn't even know you have children.
Okay, so he stops there. He says, once you bring in my children, you got to realize that the defense, in part of their presentation of the case, have presented information that the lawyer herself has children, and I believe there's a connection, even that those children have a connection with some sort of shooting. And I haven't got into that enough to speak eloquently on that matter. But she herself, the lawyer, brought her children into the court case. Okay, and one of the victims' families referenced that in their statement about her having children and should know better, or something to that effect.
I don't know what you're talking about. Your children? What about your children?
For them to comment on my children is highly improper, and for this court to allow that kind of testimony is also improper.
I don't remember any comments about any children. And if there was, it obviously didn't, it came and went without me noticing it.
Judge, I can assure you that if they were talking about your children, you would definitely notice it.
You need to sit down right now. You're out of line. In fact, you're excused. You need to go sit in the back with your Chief Public Defender.
He's the public defender.
Boom.
Mr. Weeks, please ask the lawyer from your office to go sit down and not say anything else. To try to threaten my children and bring up my children is inappropriate. Go to the back of the room now. That just violated about every rule of professional responsibility
And look who's walking
that
up.
I have never. If you're going to get up here and you're going to...
Judge, I asked you to go sidebar on this matter.
You, sidebar or not, you don't have one of your assistant public defenders say something about my children?
Judge, that same venom that the court is expressing is the same venom that defense counsel had to sit through this entire morning when
She
their
brought
children
up her
were
children
being
multiple
referenced.
times during the trial. Nobody knows if I'm barren or not. They don't know
Judge,
about my children.
Judge.
Sit down. Sit down.
Judge,
Sit down, Mr. Weeks.
please do not summarily dismiss me.
I'm summarily dismissing
I'm
you.
asking the
Go
court.
sit down.
I'm asking the court. I asked the court to go sidebar.
Go sit down. You don't threaten the
Judge,
court's children.
everyone
Your
in this
assistant just
courtroom-
did that. Go sit down.
No one in this courtroom had to endure what we had to
Go
endure.
sit down. Miss McNeil has made her children a spectacle more than once during this trial. That was her choice. You have absolutely no right to have one of your assistants come up here and suggest something about my children. Now, please go sit down.
Judge.
You're inappropriate and out of line. Go.
Okay, so that's what you missed. That's why we're here every day live, catching that as it happens. But oh my goodness. Okay, now Chandra, you're right. I don't think he threatened her children, but the fact that he mentioned and put it in her court and said if it was your children, type thing, and just made that connection that way because he went there. She's like, no, not there. But yeah, that mumble back to the judge, I think he was saying, actually, it's, and he gave the position of the guy. It wasn't the chief prosecutor, it was someone else. So the judge had misspoken about who he was supposed to go back in the back of the room and sit with. And yeah, oh my goodness. So that is crazy. And we have another day of this. This goes on tomorrow. So we're going to come back for more victim statements that probably will also be very condemning towards the jury, which the victims are very upset with because they did not go for the death penalty, as well as the defense lawyers, because their argument was, that basically the victims don't believe that defense was proper. They think they used emotion and tried to sway the jurors that way, which they did. But they're just so upset. They're so angry. They're so hurt. This is over 4 years. They've had to hold on to this and not talk about it. And this is their chance to let it out. And now the defense is saying, hey, that hurts our feelings. But crazy. Yeah, maybe the judge crossed the line. Maybe she should not have gone there. Maybe she should have put a stop to it and be able to control the decorum in the courtroom. But yeah, that is just bizarre. Unfortunately, we waited too long, and it looks like the the case out of New Mexico has wrapped for the day. But just looking at that one, it's bizarre. It's got weird things. It's a little tiny town in New Mexico, right? We've got a police that responds to a claim that a guy shot someone, says it's in self-defense. The police body camera isn't working. He's got a recorder, but he doesn't carry it with him the whole time. The police doesn't have dispatch reports. We've got a very aggressive defense attorney who's very good on cross-examinations. And we have just a little bit of a crazy story as far as the theory of defense. And it involves, if I can tell you here, where's my mouse? There we go. It involves, according to the Albuquerque Journal, that, said that the Areola, who's the guy's name that got shot, belongs to, in the outlet's words, vast conspiracy to destroy Cummings' heli-skiing company. He reportedly alleged that the conspirators used nanobacteria in people's bloodstream as a magnetic way to track digital signatures. He called it terrorism, basically with 5G and Bluetooth once it's in your cells. Okay, so we've got just some crazy stuff. And so, first of all, thank you for the tip to look into this one. I've got too much to watch right now. I don't have enough eyeballs and too many TVs I have to watch all at the same time. But Churchy, thank you for that tip on Twitter, and I appreciate that. We will keep an eye on that as this develops. Of course, tomorrow morning I'll be live here at 9 a.m. Eastern time. I'm sorry, guys. You guys have some comments that I wanted to highlight, and I'm not paying attention. Boom, boom. I think it's working. Let's see. Yep, we got some comments. Okay, but we'll be live tomorrow at 9 a.m. at Eastern time to do just a wrap up. Just say what's on the docket for the day, what we're going to be watching, what we've learned about our homework, as all of us go home and study and watch a little bit here and read a little bit of articles and commentary and everything else, and bring that back to this awesome little community we have. And then we will be live during the second portion, starting, I believe, around 1 o'clock. We'll be on maybe an hour or so before it begins, just so we can get up to speed with what's happening in that Parkland Shooter Trial. Because I anticipate that if the victim statements can wrap tomorrow, it should be followed immediately by the sentence, which we already know is going to be life in prison. That's what the jury limited it to, by saying the mitigating factors outweighed the death penalty. So holy cow. It looks like some of you were here for this and saw it as it happened, but I wanted to show this clip mostly because they went back, Law and Crime did, they went back and grabbed that clip of the defense lawyer, putting the finger up on the side of the face, flipping off basically at the judge, right? And laughing about it with the now convicted killer. Crazy. Ashley says, I don't understand how he threatened her children. Okay, so yeah, I didn't hear that as a threat either, but the judge, I guess, just bringing up the fact that she has children and associating it, saying, if you were in my position, the judge took it as crossing the line. Whether or not that was right, I don't know. Abby, as always, she's my best cheerleader, saying, please subscribe and hit the like button. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Abby. All the way from the UK. It's the middle of the night, Abby. You're getting any sleep? Let's see. I cannot one way or another, Lori says, I cannot say one way or another about the judge and her behavior. However, lead public defender seemed a tad out of line, just my observation. Yeah, I haven't followed this case enough to know where everyone stands, but I can tell that the judge is ticked, that this was a last straw, right? There have been too many things that have led up to this. And you have to realize these defenders are from the public defender's office. These are people the judge has to work with every single day going forward. I don't know how that's going to happen. Let's see. Should teacher be allowed to carry a weapon in their class? I believe it would save lives. Yeah, true Celtic Mutt. I appreciate you. You actually left me a voicemail on our recovery addict hotline about that, and we shared that message earlier today. Had a great discussion about this topic. A lot of opinion going both ways. Some people that just couldn't believe that that's even a suggestion, and then other people who are like, of course, that's the only solution, and everything in between. So, Carl Murphy says, I genuinely hope you do so well with this. You don't have to go to work. You're so great. And I've given up my other podcast while at work. Carly, that is awesome. I'd love to make this into a full-time thing. This is something I just love doing, and discovering you guys, this community out here of just some amazing people from all around the world, really, that are so so smart, so witty, so fun, and so supportive. It's just been amazing. I appreciate all you guys for being here. Roxanne says, just got home from my evening walk. We don't know we were going to get another great video. I feel lucky. I feel lucky too, mostly because I got this tip on this court case. I'm going to watch this one as well as it develops. I will say that the one thing I don't like about this case out of New Mexico is the cameras in the courtroom are not the best. I think it's being shot by a news photographer, and having been one, I can say that they're looking for that shot, that little segment that they're going to use in a highlight reel, right? And so there's a lot of panning around. It's all shot from one angle. We don't get to see the videos that are shown on the screen and things like that. And the audio is not the best, but there's enough. Yes, Abby, that is correct. I think one of my kids just fell down the stairs. Nope, no crying. I think we're good. All right. There's enough in this case that it will hook you, even with all those problems. So hopefully we'll be able to bring some of that in. True Celtic Mutt, speaking about your comment about the arming teachers in the classroom to stop school shootings, says I'm 100% in favor. And you've got to realize he has a law enforcement background, and so he's speaking from a position of some knowledge on the topic there. Let's see. Roxanne says, hey, everyone, which court case? It's this one that Abby just mentioned. Dean Cummings, that's what we were talking about. But we also were talking about just a recap of the crazy Parkland Shooter Trial antics right as we came back from lunch with the defense. And I think it's gonna be even bigger tomorrow. Mangy Coyote says, I was wondering what your background was. News photography? I'm a former news reporter. Awesome. You know all about ingesting video then. I've worked in a couple things, both freelance and inside the studio, and I got my degree in this, electronic media stuff, communications, and so I love it. But at the same time, it doesn't pay the bills. Man, if you want to see somebody who works for something just because they like it, look in the news industry. I don't know how they do it. Let's see. Lori says, I'd never make it in law. I would definitely go into mommy timeout mode and the mommy death stare. That's funny. Yes, Roxanne, this is a great summation from Chandra. Roxanne Moser, extreme skier kills a guy for putting nanobots in drinking water or something. That pretty much sums it up. I believe there's an AR-15 rifle involved. I think he fired like 10 shots, 2 of which hit him or something like that. There's supposedly some sort of burning chemical that was sprayed on him. Yeah. Oh, man. Coyote, I am sorry, man. That I can tell you, it's not a fun place to be. But I hope things change for you. I hope things come together and you have something out there that will provide for everything you need and still give you personal satisfaction in doing it. But my heart goes out to you, man. Okay, so that's where we are. I didn't want to have a live stream. I just found this video that had that the lawyer flipping off the judge in it, and I thought we've got to see that because that just puts everything into context for what we're seeing, and that will set the stage for tomorrow for the additional witnesses' testimony as the victim statements go on and leading up to this sentencing, which I don't even know why they're fighting really. I mean, there's nothing left to fight over. The jury's come back. They've got a verdict. It's going to be life in prison. But, yeah. Oh, let's see. Roxanne says, I've got a story of an unsolved murder in my area. It's fairly long, and he was a problem teenager. I'll post it in the comments after the live. I'll take a look, Roxanne. I appreciate your tips. What planet did this come to Earth from? Which one are you talking about, Ann? Lori says, philosophy professor here to Lockheed inspector to disabled grandma. That's a fun transition. Though I imagine grandma is probably one of the most rewarding roles you're playing. Congratulations on that. Let's see, the fact that he was a skier has nothing to do with crime. Right, he just happened to be. He was a former, I believe he was on the U.S. Olympic ski team or something like that. I forget which team it was, whether it was downhill or alpine or whatever, or ski jumping. But basically he was like a pro skier in a former life, and that's why the case has got a little bit of notoriety. And it's a little bit crazy. It's a little wacko. Abby puts the call out for anybody who wants to leave a message on the Recovery Addict hotline. That's my burner phone right there. You can call 801-513-1160. Listen to the message, follow the instructions, and there's a good chance we'll be able to play your message or comment or question on the air and get some feedback. True Celtic says, I'd love to have you on my show at some point. I think we'd have a great conversation. Man, I don't know when I'd have time, Celtic. I'm always prepping for this. I had no idea. I mean, every time I'm on here talking with you guys, I want to give you the best, right? I want to give you insight information that you didn't have available before. I want to give you an angle that you didn't have. I want to give you a forum that doesn't exist to discuss this the way we do. And so I'm constantly just researching. But maybe we could find a time when that would match up, and I'd be happy to help out. A couple of you filtering late. Don't worry. I didn't give any warning on this one. I just went live. I told my wife, "Hey Jen, I've got to make this go live. This is crazy. I can't just hold it in all night until tomorrow morning." Especially once I saw that video. So you guys have been amazing today. It's been a lot of fun to be with you guys. Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, we'll be back here doing what we always do, which is having a grand time and just, being civil about it in the process. We have Parkland Shooter in the afternoon. I'll be live for that as well. So the morning is pretty much going to be like just what's on the docket. We might talk about some of these cases with the skier. We might talk about some other things that are coming up. We might rewrap a little bit with Daryl Brooks, with Susan Boone, just a lot of the big cases that are out there. We'll keep an eye on Susan Boone especially because there's a chance, I really think, this is just me talking, but there's a chance that she might be getting rid of her 6th public defender. And that would present even further delay in that case, which is already dragged on for so long. Professor Bill Bell says, Recovery Addict, awesome presentation style. Don't change. I might change one thing, and it will be a small change about my name, just so it doesn't get confused with some of the addiction recovery type groups that are out there. That wasn't my intent when I chose it, and that's not why I chose it. But we might make a little tweak there just to make it more in line with what we're doing. But this is me. This is what you get. I'm like this all day, every day. So it's something I'm passionate about, and it's really easy for me to share with you guys. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate the support. True Celtic, I'll see if I can get on and just watch a little bit tonight. We'd still have to work out, all the logistics of the technical connection and timing and delays and everything there. But if I can, even just for a few minutes, pop on and say hi. That would be a lot of fun for me. Okay. All right. Abby says, what Professor Phil Bell said. That name does not roll off my tongue. I'll practice it. I won't make any mistakes anymore. Okay. Roxanne's going to be there as well, True Celtic. So wonderful. Lori, thank you very much. We'll see you in the morning, right? Get some rest because you're going to need it. Buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride tomorrow, guys. We'll catch you on tomorrow's show. And until then, please give everyone you love a hug.